other materials that, from your experience now, that you'd recommend using?
No, it's about cleaning. We looked at kind of putting plastic material on there, but we've explored a number of things, and the best way is just to which is a bit of water blasting. It kind of comes down to the simple.
There are some treatments that we've talked about, but they really have to go into the concrete, and they're not that proven being submerged at all times. Wonderful. Many thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, very much.
So this afternoon we do have a tour of a number of facilities, so it seems fitting that we ask your executive member that's based in the region to give an update of this entire region, and Tony Arnold will go ahead and explain why this region is so active and busy in its marine industry, and then he'll also give a broad overview of some of those facilities you're going to see this afternoon, and then I'll round out with Vessel Works. Welcome, Tony.
Thanks, Phil. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tauranga. Beautiful day today. We're lucky because we've had a few wet and windy ones, and we're blessed today. This is why we live here, I guess. Anyway, as Phil introduced me, I'm Tony Arnold. I'm the executive committee member of NZMOA for the Bay of Plenty region. Basically I'm going to run you through a few of the places we're going to see later on today, and a bit of an explanation of how it all works. 2 marinas, dry stack, new big facility boat lift machine, which is great because we lost our slipway facility 10 years ago now, and that's big. That was a great loss to the city back then, but this travel lift has proven a huge success already. We've only had the machine here for probably machine operating for 2-3 months, and Phil's been lifting boats out back to back, testing it out, stretching it to the limits, and all good. So hopefully my slide presentation works all right, because I've been trying to get it right. So that's our beautiful bay. That's our beautiful peninsula, and the way it looks probably out there today. Jane's already stolen my thunder there, because I was going to start at this part of the city and work my way around the peninsula, point out some of the areas. So yes, tidal steps. I've gone in a couple of years ago. They've got a playground there, big kids playground, and there was a little bit concern about the slipperiness of the steps, and it has proven to be correct. They can be quite slippy, and of course the tide runs through at 2 knots, so people do have to be careful. I know a few of you got to town last night. A few of you would have found out that just in this area here there's some good bars as well. I've been known to go down there, and we'll probably end up down there tonight. But City have tidied that area up quite nicely. A big Bellingham pontoon went in there at the end of the project. It's got some nice disco lights on it down there, so it's all bright blue at night time, and you can't really miss it. And then working our way up, I didn't do a slide for this facility, but obviously this is a great facility to have with a berth outside. The hotel owner's boat's parked out, Carver's parked out there at the moment, but it is a couple of the charter boats around the harbour pick up and drop off and do. The Easter Jazz Festival runs a ferry service up and down the harbour. It's a great facility, and it's been well received. Great conference venue. Well done, Mr. Payne. It took, I think, his consent. It took him about 20 years to build this place from when he got the consent, little by little, but he got the job done. Next council facility is a fenced trailer enclosure area at Sulphur Point that we'll see this afternoon on the bus. This photo was taken shortly after it was opened, but it is full capacity at the moment. It's very reasonable. I think, sorry, I have forgotten something. That's what I need. Take that long. So it's adjacent to the multi-lane public boat ramp, so you need a ute or a tractor to get the boat in, but a 10-metre berth, 10-metre trailer boat, 2070 per annum, including GST, which is pretty reasonable next to the water. Multi-lane boat ramps. The council have 7 multi-lane boat ramps. Oh, sorry, they're not all multi-lane, but on Sulphur Point, this one's obviously got multi-lanes next door. 7 of them around the central city. No charge for using boat ramps in Tauranga, which is great. And also there is parking, trailer boat parking, adjacent to most of them, not the ones in the city, but you can free park your truck and your trailer and use the boat ramp free of charge, which visiting other areas, a lot of you guys charge for use of boat ramps, etc. But it is free here, which is well received by the locals. And on a sunny day, there's a million boats out on the water, big trailer boats, very affordable. We'll be taking a visit to our dry stack apartment block. Those of you who haven't seen it before, it's quite novel. From the front view, it does just look like an apartment building, but as you can see from that angle there, the dry stack goes right behind. The dry stack is operating at 70 to 80% occupancy at the moment. It is expensive. Dry stacks are expensive things because, of course, you phone them up, they fuel your boat up, put your boat in for you, do what you want, and you just go out for the day and leave it there for them to put away. 10-metre price, 10-metre dry stack, $9,315, $9,315 per annum. So we're jumping from the trailer park opposite 2070 to 9315s. Quite a jump there. Moving round to Tauranga Marine now. Now, Greg Prescott has been the manager at Tauranga Marine since 2014. Greg's not with us today. Greg's gone on, had annual leave booked. So I tried to get hold of a couple of the committee members, but they've got things on, so I'll be doing Greg's bit of a talk and trip around the marina today. I've been well briefed, so I should get it right. Tauranga Marina was originally constructed in 1982, and it's a very well protected marina. It's protected by a full rock wall. It's an older timber and concrete float structure marina that a lot of you will know for many years had its ups and downs, but Greg's been doing a great job in the last 4 years of maintaining it. It's looking a lot more tidy than last time you guys would have visited, which I think it was 2008 that we were here last time. I think it was 10 years ago. But Greg's done a smashing job tidying it up. It is very cheap. It is a marina society, and all the return from all the berth rentals and all the hardstand profits go back to the society. So I've put some numbers on the wall there for you to have a look at. So she is an incorporated society, 560 marina berths, starting at 8 metres and going up to 18. There's a couple of 20s on J Pier. 35-ton travel lift. They're on their 4th travel lift now since 1982. 50 hard stands, 130 trailer parks. But those dynamics are probably going to change soon because they're about to change the hard stand around a little bit, which I'll talk about in the next couple of slides. So there you go. There's the juicy number: 12 metre operating fee for your marina berth, $605 per annum.
How do they make that work?
Basically, the money from the hardstand profits and all the berth. All the berths have to go through the society, all the berth rentals. So there's a big pot of income. Plus there was a lot of savings for many years that weren't spent on maintenance in that early period, so they did have quite a big pot. But those are the current fees. And that 12 metre one-way travel lift price, if you're a society member, you get a further 20% discount every time you want to lift out. So I probably shouldn't be telling a lot of your clients about this, because they'll be down here for a travel lift. So we're going to move to the next marina in a minute, which is the marina that I operate, which is a limited company, and basically berth rentals go back to the owners or in a pooling system. It's not an incorporated society. The fees are different, but it is very hard for us to compete with this. Before we go on to the next slide, I should add that this marina is completely full. You will wait 20 years to own a berth in this marina. There's a 20-year waiting list. The only way that you can fast track the waiting list is there is a clause in the licence. There's a boat and a berth deal. So in the old days, people couldn't sell their boats if they couldn't offer the berth to the new owner when there was only one marina in town. So a lot of people use that to fast track a sale of a marina berth. But very cheap if you can get in, and being run well these days. They're about to invest in a 50-ton Rudberg boat lifting trailer, which they're going to modify the hard stand, create some areas for the Rudberg trailers to take boats up, largely targeting cruising catamarans, because we haven't got a lot of facilities in Tauranga. The reason for that, in the old days, the catamarans and trimaran people in Tauranga all found swing moorings in the harbour because they were bigger. The berthage was more expensive. No one, when you sell a catamaran berth, obviously normally it's at 1.5 times a normal marina price to buy it. Very hard to sell to people in this area because, I'll just get a swing mooring in the harbour because it's well sheltered. There's about 450 moorings in the harbour, so if you could get a good cat berth, that's what people did. But of course, with the world cruises, especially the Pacific cruises, a lot more of them buying cats these days and cruising in cats. Tauranga is looking at moving in on that facility with a new trailer. That's not here, that's the Caribbean, by the way, that picture there. We've got a couple of fellas there. They do have some plans on the radar to extend the marina for another 220 berths. It depends largely on the University of Waikato choosing to locate to the south of the current marina basin, in which case they could probably utilise some of that area. I think they've got quite a lot of steps to go through before they get that reserve area, but they have drawn some plans up which shows a new 220 berth development to the south of the current hard stand there. But we'll be taking a trip down this afternoon, and you can see all this. Yeah, that's the new development of this existing marina here. They got some plans to rebuild J Pier, which is their big berth pier at the north of the marina. They've currently got 18-metre berths with a couple of 20s mixed in, but they've drawn up these plans to rebuild J Pier and extend some of the berths to give that comfort to a lot of their owners who are going for the bigger Maritimos. I think when Greg took over, we had a northerly storm about 4 years ago, and Greg phoned me up one day and said, "Tony, have you got any poles?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got some poles sitting over here." Basically, J Pier was only held in with about 7 or 8 poles that had worm in them, so there was a quick piling operation going on. because she got a little bit shabby over the years. So we lent him some poles. He whacked those in, but JP is due for a refurb. There's a lot of weight on that pier. Some big boats down there. The next facility we're going to talk about. This fella here on the screen. It's Phil's day, as Jane said. Well, it might not be here. This fella has been known over the years to go to other people's marinas and cause some trouble, like putting stickers on bays. I remember once in Talpo there was Bayswater stickers everywhere. And Gallagher and Wardale caused some trouble, and there's another fellow over there from Half Moon Bay who's you've got to watch as well. He likes picking other people's things up. So anyway, Mr. Wardale will give us a good rundown of his facility, so I won't bother with that, but we know about him. Right, moving home for me. This is our baby. We constructed this marina in 1996-97, opening in 97. We were one of those marinas that came just after the RMA, with the theory that you don't need rock balls anymore, you put floating breakwaters in. So all that attenuator is floating structure, which has a set of challenges in this tidal harbour. I've been there since the beginning, and some of my staff, Anna's been there around since the beginning, Julie since a couple of years after the beginning. Yeah, we've got 500 berths. We're running at 78% occupancy, as we say on the chart there. Big berths are all full today. Main areas that we're not full is 12-metre berths, where those boats kind of all moved from 36 foot to 42 foot, going back early 2000s. So we're a limited company body corporate. Basically 500 marina berths, 300 were sold on a prospectus, privately owned by individuals, and the other 200 are retained ownership by the company. Currently our operating expenses are 2,764, including just per annum, which is a bit more than 603, but that's the way it goes. We work very closely with the other marina. The other marina is the home to the yacht clubs and the sport fishing club, Tauranga Sport Fishing Club, which you'll know from the one-base tournaments. It's got a big membership. Tauranga Yacht Powerboat Club, of course, we've got our America's Cup helmsman, Peter Burling and co. Over the years, we've got deeper water available at our marina because we dredge regularly. We have to dredge because of our tidal flow. I'll explain that on the tour a little bit more this afternoon. We've got deep water at the north of the marina, so we've held a couple of overseas events. We did the Around Alone race in 2002, 2003. We hosted Sir Robin Knox Johnson and the team, which has now become the Velux Five Oceans or whatever. And 2011-12 we did the Clipper race. Stopover, hosted the Clippers. I think the Volvo was in Auckland, so we had Robin and friends back again, which was fun. Our major problem at our marina is that we do have an exposure to the north. We have a 3-mile fetch from the northern breakwater to the mount, and in northerly events the wind comes flying down the guts of the channel. With an outgoing tide we get waves that are too big for our structures and they damage us. So a lot of you will have heard about our plans to build a pile and panel breakwater. That we've got a consent to build a pile and panel breakwater. We're still going to build a pile and panel breakwater, but we've got some problems with license to trust deed issues with a couple of things that we've got to sort out before we have another go at building it. But basically, that's a pile and panel breakwater in Runaway Bay in Australia. We would dearly have loved to have built a rock wall around the northern area of the marina. We tried for that for many years. Unfortunately, with the tidal flow again through the harbour, building a rock wall around the northern perimeter of our marina would cause a jet of current on the ebb tide to cross the face of the Port of Tauranga's container terminal wharf, which is their big earner, so they weren't happy with our rock wall plans. So we went back to the pylon panel with the gap underneath it to let the outgoing tide through, and that didn't create such a flushing jet across the face of the wharf, and the port accepted that. So we have a consent to build a pylon panel. We've got plans to build one. We're just working our way through it with some licence issues. We're a little bit different to the other marina. We have a travel lift and a boatyard, but it's leased out. So Tauranga Bridge Marina Limited does not own the boatyard, and they own the yard, but they lease it out. Bruce Goodchap, who a lot of you will know from these meetings and travel lift operations. Bruce is actually away where everyone else should be sailing in Fiji at the moment. So we're going to visit Bruce's yard today. Lucy, Bruce's wife's there, who a lot of you will have met, who's been to boatyard forums. Lucy's going to show us round, but we've got travel lift operated by the good chaps, Bridge Marina Travel Lift Limited. She's again a 35-ton machine. She's got the jib crane on top, which has been a great asset. I think it's still the only one in New Zealand with a jib crane on top. It can lift 1,000 ton, so you can pull smallish masts out. Hey? 1 ton, sorry, 1,000 kilos. Sorry. 1,000 kilos. 1,000 kilos. You can pull small masts out, engines, gearboxes and things like that in the travel lift dock. And move poles around and do all sorts of great jobs with that. Oh, lift the marina workboat out as well when it needs to go for a bum clean or a service. So that's a great machine. She's a little bit wider than your average machine. We widened it up. I think he can lift 5.5 maximum beam. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so she's a 35-ton extra wide travel lift, jib crane, 1,000 kilograms. 30 hard stands, and Bruce has got his price there of 12-metre one-way travel lift, 143.75 included gist. Bruce has got a very good relationship with the yacht club, a lot of the boaties at the other marina, so a lot of the other marina guys do come to Bruce because they like him, but obviously if they get a 20% discount on their 112, it costs them quite a lot more to come over, so it's a little bit hard to keep that commercial side of things going when you're up against a very cheap, well, it's not, I don't like to say cheap, cheap's the wrong word, but very reasonably priced option at the other marina. We've got some tenants on site. We've got well, obviously there's the travel lift down the bottom there. We've got Go Fuel, like a lot of our colleagues have got, West Haven, etc. In fact, Go Fuel are here today. Hello, Go Fuel. They haven't arrived yet? Must have run out of fuel. Tauranga boat sales. And then, of course, our rock star, Mr. Rudd, who's been very good lately and stayed out of the news for a while. Very, very quiet. So, but we have some fun with Mr. Rudd. He, over the years, parking his helicopter in the car park without really doing the right, just dropping in for all sorts of fun and games. But anyway, we won't talk about that now. Better be good. Maybe by day 3 we'll start talking about that. These associations like NZMOA, I've been, just to give you an idea, first time I went to an NZMOA meeting was in 1997, and it was at the Auckland Rescue Centre there, the round place. And there was lots of people that aren't here today, like Neil Howcroft and Harvey Shepherd, and I think Phil was there. Were you there? I think Brett Colby was there. And it was great because we all sat down and we were all talking about things. And it was NZMOA was quite new. And I think 4 marinas worked out that they were spending $50,000 with a certain civil engineering company that 4 letters begins with a B and ends with an A. And they were doing consultant work on boatyard water drainage and basically charging someone $80,000 instead of going off and selling to everyone else around the room for $50,000 each. So we worked out we could buy one and we could all work off it. So I think NZMOA has been a great thing to save lots of our companies lots of money over the years. I've been on the exec since 2004. I do what I can, but you know, not being in Auckland, it's hard, and I just have to say what was said earlier. Phil does amazing stuff for this association. The other association is the one on the screen, TMIA, Tauranga Marine Industry Association, which we formed in 1997. We're now at 57 members. We've just got a new booklet out because we've done a real refurb of the association to go with the new travel lift and Phil's haul out facility. We want members actively involved, so we're all in there. This booklet, I don't know whether Phil's got a load of these anywhere, but there'll be some at the Vessel Works today, and if you wanted to have a look, it's a great booklet that we're going to get offshore to promote the services of the locals and get everyone working in the yard with the right insurance, blah blah blah. Just moving out of Tauranga now and down the coast a little bit, Whakatane Marina Plans. Like to welcome Jim. Is Jim Finley?
Over here.
Right, there you are. Welcome Jim, new member. We signed Jim up last week. Jim's from Whakatane District Council, and Trevor, there's Trevor as well. I was looking over at it. They got some plans to build a couple of marinas in the Whakatane River. Jim, you're looking at 80 to 90 commercial berths next to the boat club for the boats that go out to White Island and commercial fishing boats, all sorts of commercial operations. And Trevor's looking at basically a marina company, 180 marina berths.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, new members for the association, just put your hands together and welcome them aboard if you would. Excellent. I'm sure we'll see some more pictures soon. You know, I just found a picture of your lovely river. The mayor had to go, but I've got a bit of a yarn because you've got to have a bit of a yarn at these things, I was on white boats, not the big flash ones, mainly the older white boats. Basically, I used to get stuck down in the engine room in the villages and stuff many years before, 12 years before I came to New Zealand, and lived all over the place, never really lived anywhere except on a boat for 12 years. So when I first came to live in New Zealand at the end of '93, we were out one night at a birthday down the Strand by the tidal steps at the Mongolian feast, and one of the ladies said to me, she said, well, I'm going to go to the theatre tomorrow and audition for LOLO. They're doing LOLO at the theatre. And I said, because I hadn't lived in England, hadn't had a normal life, living on a boat in France mainly, or Spain or Italy, I said, that sounds like fun. I've never done anything like that. I'll come with you. Of course, everyone said, you're drunk. And I said, no, I'm not. Anyway, I went to the theatre, walked in, and these two ladies said to me, what are you doing? And I said, well, I thought I might try to go for a part in the play. They said, have you ever done anything like this before? And I said, no. I said, but I speak lots of languages and I'm a bit daft. And seeing as it's LOLO, I thought it might be a bit of fun. And they said, what could you do? And I said, anything but sing. I said, I can do daft accents and I can mimic, take off like LOLO. And so anyway, next thing, I jumped around a bit and they got me jumping around. I got a phone call a couple of days later, yeah, we've got a part for you, come up and see us. So I went up to the theatre and they gave me a part of It Is I, La Claire, in Hello Hello. And yeah, I had to sing all the way through. It was awful, but it was the best-selling show they ever did. Anyway, this isn't about me. That's me there with my camembert in my ears and Madam Edith singing to me. And that fella there is the mayor. What a mistake to make. And it was the best-selling show they ever did. So. Anyway, that was just a little bit of a yarn to show how I know the mayor, because I was talking to him when he came in. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll finish with the show, but take any questions if anyone's got any questions. I'll obviously do a little bit more of a talk on the way around this afternoon. Mark?
Earlier you gave us the annual fees and stuff of the example of 12 metres. Can you give us a range of berth pricing? Can you give us a range of berth pricing in your facility and so forth?
Pricing
At Tauranga Marine.
Sales.
berth sales?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so Sulphur Point, they've got a price list, which I've got in here. Yeah, because they've got a set society price to sell them at. I think I've got that in here.
Oh, it's about 30,000. They've just gone up recently because they did a valuation about 2 years ago. But before they were really low.
18.
Do you have an idea, Anna?
Yes,
I didn't bring that one, I just put the traveller prices.
they were about 18, from about 18,000.
For a 10 metre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
18.
But that's...
They were very low, but then they got a valuation done about 2 years ago, which brought it up, and they just go on CPI to increase their berth prices. So,
But basically they don't sell for that. So basically on paper, a 10 metre berth worth $18,000. And you'll wait 20 odd years to buy one at that rate because your name's got to come up on the list. But then if someone puts an old boat on that berth and sells it as the boat and berth deal, they sell for about 30. So that's the way that it goes round. And it's not really the managers in that, it's the boat brokers and the berth owners that do it. It's the only way that they can bypass the giving it back. Because basically, if you finish with your berth, you're meant to give it back to the society and they pay you what it's worth on paper, $18,000, and it gets sold to the next person on the list. R10.5 is 35. R12's 45. Yeah. R14's 55, 60. But then going up 16s, we're jumping now. We're jumping to 130,000. 18s, we've got no 18s on sale, but you're up to 180. And 20s, 300,000.
And what's the term left? Sorry?
Mais ou menos.
we're 2030 at the moment.
Any more for... I don't know where Phil's... Oh, there it is. All right, well, that's all from me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll do a little bit more on the bus trip. Thank you. Oops.